showed you the wrong video. The video was fine in terms of the work that you did on purpose, but it wasn't the video that I was intended to show you tonight. So that other video will feature at some other point down the road. So thank you for your input. And I know there wasn't opportunity for every voice, but it is about the collective learning. And we only move forward if I take a step. Yeah, and it's not about you taking a step, it's about me taking a step. So we move forward when I take a step. And if everybody step forward from I, then we are moving forward. Patricia, I said no more, but as it's you, very quick, please. And then
I just wanted to say that if people want to make a comment on the exercise that we've done, there'll be an opportunity at the end. So write it down or hold on to it, and you can make that contribution at the end.
Thank you.
After presenters have done, yeah?
Yes, thank you. And there's also chat if you want to capture your thoughts in there as well. Okay, thanks. Auntie Jean, over to you.
Okay, thank you. And apologies to Delroy, wasn't able to go through it, but anyway, next time. Everybody, make sure you've got a pen and paper ready to write down your questions that may come up during the first presentation's presentation. Make sure you've got some water so you can drink to hydrate yourself. So I'm going to introduce you now to our first presentation, brother called Stead. And Stead is going to be talking about food. Food is a weapon of mass destruction. So Stead, I'd like you to introduce yourself, and I'll now put the screen over to you. The screen is now yours, Stead. Stead, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. Okay. I can see, but I can only see half of your face.
Yeah, here, can you see me?
I can see half of your face.
Yeah?
Yeah, half, just half.
I don't know how this works. Half of the face, press escape. Yeah, can you see me? No, you've got the wrong person.
We can see you.
You sure?
Yeah,
let him know. I'm sorry, is it, Auntie Jean, if I may, is it because of the lighting? Does he know why you can only see half of his face?
Yes, because I was speaking to him before about see if he can adjust his lighting.
We can see his whole face.
You might have to adjust it a bit more.
We can see his whole face.
I can see my whole face.
I can see his whole face.
Yeah, I can see his whole face, but half of it is darkness.
Okay, let it run,
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, you there? Can I talk?
Yes, please.
My name is Stead. I'm a guy that I've done lots of different businesses, and my life was all about making money.
Could we have a bit more volume, please?
Can you hear me?
A bit more volume, please.
My volume's up high.
Admin?
No, just carry on. You have to manage your own volume, Patricia.
Are you there?
Go ahead.
And I was all about just living a lifestyle of just making money and doing my thing. I'm a dance teacher, professional dance teacher, instructor, also a judge, international judge of all types of dances, and also an examiner. And I found myself in a real strange place in 2012 where I collapsed with a thing called high blood pressure. Sorry, in 26 with high blood pressure. With this high blood pressure, I collapsed in the hospital. They took me and told me that my pressure was extremely high. And they said I needed to go on these pills for the rest of my life. So I took the pills for the rest of the pills. It's only a little tiny pill. I took 2 of them every day. for about 10 years. Then I found myself again in another position where I collapsed again and went into a coma. When I come out, my right eye is blind. I end up losing all my businesses. I end up basically staying indoors for 3 years, lying on my sofa. From there, I went to the doctors for a checkup. Next thing I found, I've got a thing called gangrene. Gangrene. From there, they sent me to the hospital where a doctor, an Asian doctor, took my foot, started to touch my toes with a pin and asked me if I could feel it. And I said to him, yes. And he then turned around to me and said to me, there's nothing wrong with you. But at that time, I couldn't even walk on the foot. It was so bad, it had turned black as the ace of Spain. And it was what I call minging, yeah? Smelt very bad from the gangrene. But when that doctor basically told me there was nothing wrong with my foot, that's when the light bulb turned on. I went straight home, put all the medication that I was taking into a search engine, and on each medication that I put in that search engine, the first side effect come up was depression. Because previously, a few months before that, I tried to hang myself. And I never understood why I want to hang myself, because I had everything going for me at one time in life, and it just didn't make no sense. So from taking the high blood pressure pills, statins, and then they gave me this pill for diabetes, all three of those pills were just messing up my body, each counteracting each other, just messing up my body. With that, I found myself again with a thing called shingles. Once I found that the thing called shingles, I find that shingles is basically chicken pox and another thing called herpes, which I couldn't believe that I even had herpes. From there, my first point of call is that I went to Barbados for probably about 10 years previous to that, and my cousins grow a plant called moringa. So I put the plant moringa into a search engine and I started to research what this plant was. And by the time I started researching this plant, because I never knew my history and where I came from, I didn't know about my body. And I never knew my body was an electrical instrument. But to believe it, I served an apprenticeship as an electrical engineer. And I never knew my body was an electrical part, was part of my body. That I work by electricity and vibration. I never knew, because I never knew my history. Anyway, once I started to put those things together, that your body is electrical and works by vibration, and the food that you eat is the most important thing that you need to put in your body, I started to put in 2 to 2 together and started to clean my body with what I eat. Because my mistress was Chinese, my best friend was Kentucky, my other associates was McDonald's, and all those places. In the morning, from I was 17 doing my apprenticeship, all I ate was fried bacon, fried eggs, beans, and tomatoes. I ate that from 17 till I hit 50, all the time eating the same old food. But I never knew the food, what I was eating, was what was destroying me. But they never tell you that eggs, bacon, all these things are destroying your body. But anyway, once I started to understand that, I started to research the medication I was taking. And once I started to research that medication, I then stopped taking it and had to find something to replace it. And as I said, the first point was moringa. But then I found another thing called neem, another thing called soursop, another thing called callaloo. All these things I never ate. Cauliflower, never ate it. Pear, avocado pear, avocado. I couldn't stand the taste of it in my mouth. But what they call lady fingers, I never ate none of these things. I never took ginger. And what they try to repair your body with is what they call chemistry, because the pills that I was taking were man-made. They're chemistry. But you need to repair your body with what you call physics. So the food that I was eating was killing my body, but the food that I replaced it with are things that are coming from the ground. And they got all the minerals and the electrolytes that your body needs. I never knew I knew about Irish moss because they mix it with milk and it tastes nice. But you need the raw moss inside your body, not with milk and eggs. So I had to basically change my lifestyle, because all I ever did, most of my adult life, I went around with white people and English and European people. All what I worked was this pure European, few blacks, but mainly European. So I never really studied all the things that I was doing wrong. And I had to make a complete lifetime change, a lifestyle change, you know? And it's been a kind of a big experience for me, because when you're eating those things for 50 years and you then got to stop eating bacon, it's been one of the hardest things for me to do, you know? In that, learning about the things that we eat is the most important things, and the medication that we take ain't supposed to be in our body. I've now come to this place because once I started to clean my body, this got clean. And once this started to get clean, I started seeing visions, and basically he started to speak to me and tell me that I need to look after my black brothers and sisters. And I still didn't want to do it. I thought to myself, I'm going to go back to try to make money, build my businesses up to make money. And he came back and told me he didn't make me clean to go back into the same thing. So I basically had to change my life. I've changed my lifestyle. I started learning. I didn't know things like about toothpaste, underarm, soap, all these things that I would go to the pound shop and buy for £1. They were just breaking down my body. And that's where I'm basically coming from. And from learning, and one of the things, as I said, I am an electrical engineer. I now understand it. I understand about the shungite, the magnets, all the things, the stones, the healing flowers. There's a flower that came from, only grows in a country called India, called Triphala. It was one of the main flowers that I had to put into my body to get rid of the shingles. Anyway, that's my story basically. And now I take myself and I go and talk to mainly black. I try to talk to black people, but mainly a lot of black men, because we as men rather spend money on our cars. Rather than putting tires on, putting money to our health, we would put money to our cars, because I did it. I had 3 Mercedes, top class Mercedes. I only needed 1, but I had 3. What for? But that's my story. And right now, that's what I do. I now sell different products and explain the products. And I've done, I think, a couple of Auntie Jean's, what she does, she puts on these shows and get the different people. And I'm learning. I've got no roof over my head. and I'm open for learning.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
It's live. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw out
Auntie Jean.
his email. I'm sure I sent it to him.
Okay. Are there any questions? Any questions for our brother?
Yeah, just wanted to know, when he talked about moringa and all those various herbs, how often does he use them? What are the properties of them? What are the effects of them? How should, you know, how did they benefit his health?
Can I answer that? Brother Royston, could I answer that?
Royston, can he answer that?
Royston's frozen.
Oh.
So can I answer that, Auntie Jean?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. First of all, moringa has got the things that we need in our body that they say we get from meat. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Carry on.
Yeah, that we get from meat. The first thing moringa's got is protein. The second thing it's got is calcium. It's got fiber. It's got iron. It's got vitamin A, K. So it's got lots of different electrolytes in the thing. Now, once I started to understand the moringa, I said I had gangrene. So once I started to understand, I basically, once I bathed my foot, I put a thing called black seed oil and then moringa on my foot. And as well as taking it eternally, I put it on my foot because I worked it out that it's a plant, it's a leaf. And these are the things that our ancestors used to use. They didn't have plasters. They would take a leaf and put it on the cut and wrap it. So I started to put the moringa on my foot. And another thing that I use the thing called a Revite that sends electrical stimulation up through your feet. Because what happens, gravity lets the blood go down, but the heart cannot pump the blood back up. So that's how I had a break in my foot, basically. I call it electrical break. So the blood could not go back up. And once I started to understand that, I put the moringa on. I use the electrical instrument called a Revite. But in answer to your other question, you got to use it every day. Just like how I was using the pills to keep myself alive, moringa is something that every person should use it every day, every single day.
Can I ask, in what format do you use it? Do you use it as tea bags or do you use it in its natural form?
I don't use it as tea bags because, again, when you use it as tea bags, it's got to go through a certain process. I've used the leaf in its natural form. A lot of people take the seeds and put the seeds in, but the seeds are so powerful that when they go into your gut, if you put too many seeds in your gut, it will burn a hole in the gut. There was not a lot of research done about the seeds, but the powder, you can put it in everything that you cook with, in your smoothie. Well, they call it smoothie. I call it electrical alkaline drinks or whatever you want to call it, but it's not a smoothie. It's not smooth, but that's what they want to call it. But anything with electrical, moringa can go in everything. Like today, I made a soup. The moringa and the trifler went into the soup, the vegetable soup. So I put it in everything I take, yeah? Because it's electrolyte, it's protein. And where I don't eat meat no more, and meat, they say you need to get protein, but that gives you your protein. It gives you your protein that you need, yeah? Just the moringa.
Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else?
Any more questions for our brother Fire?
Can I just ask him, where does he get it from?
Right. I buy moringa wholesale, and everything that I talk about, I now sell. Yeah. Various shops that you can get moringa from as well. One of the shops that sells moringa is Holland and Barrett's. Yeah. But if you ring me, or I'm gonna hopefully Auntie Jean, I get moringa, but you can get it from Holland and Barrett.
So can Auntie Jean give us your details, your email or something like that, so we can order?
Yeah.
Auntie Jean, just gonna put his details on the side.
Can I just say that
to come up on the screen, so Fire can still put his details on after he's done his presentation. But there's also
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The question is about the flower from India. What was the name of it?
It's called Triphala. Yeah. If you hold on a second, I will get it so I can spell it, so you can spell it. Hold on one sec.
That's another thing we need to start thinking about. How do we reclaim all of those herbs and those treatments, and how do we bottle that for ourselves? Yeah, Mary Seacole shouldn't have died for no reason. We should need to carry on that legacy.
It's Triphala. It's spelled T-R-I.
Yes.
P-H.
Yes.
A.
Repeat.
T-R-I. P-H-A-L-A.
Thank you.
Yeah.
fella.
Well, most of the stuff that you take is taken. You can take it in what they call a smoothie. I put it in what I eat. Yeah, but it's a thing like is a blood cleanser. But what it attacked the herpes that I had. Yeah, because the herpes, when it was on my body, it did. Most people, when they get cold sore on their lip, they say I've got a cold sore. But a cold sore is herpes. It's just straightforward herpes. Any cold sore comes up on your lip, because some people, it attacks their mouth. But where it attacked me, it attacked my middle region, it attacked my groin, it attacked my back, it attacked my bottom of my feet and the top of my feet. So I was itching all the time. So I knew I had a fungus or some kind of fungus. So I first of all went and bought the stuff that ladies use for their vagina called Canistel. I thought, is that because it's fungus? So I used to put that on and it will stop it for a day. But then it will come back with a vengeance, because the problem wasn't on the outside of the body. The problem was on the inside of the body with the blood. That's where the problem is. And 99.9 problems with your body is to do with your blood work. If you've got cancer, it's blood. Diabetes, it's blood. High blood pressure, blood. COPD, blood. It all, like I know everyone, most people now know about Dr. Sebi, but once you start, I studied a doctor called Dr. Grayson, and he was from the 1920s. And most, as Dr. Sebi, most illnesses, 99.9 illnesses, is to do with your blood. And what they do, they give them different names. So for instance, if you've got breast cancer or prostate cancer, it's the same cancer, but it's all to do with your blood. And the first thing what people should understand is that they need to clean their blood. Most times you clean your blood with what they call alkaline foods, like the food of lemons, ginger, watermelon, cucumber. All these things are alkaline, yeah? And once you start to clean your, eat anything that usually comes from the ground, that's grown from the rains and the heavens, it's going to be more or less alkaline. The most things that you need to put into your body is greens. This is where moringa is the top green you need in your body. From that, then you have the cauliflowers, the spinach, the ladyfingers. But all of these things are what they call alkaline. I call it electrifying. They're electrifying your body, putting the electric back into your body, basically.
Could I ask a question, please?
Yes, certainly.
I watched I listened in last week and I'm listening to this week, and it's a very powerful story. Now, I'm a person that's on these
This
medications.
will be the last question, okay? Because we need to move.
Okay, I'm on these medications. When you make this transition, how long do you think you should take to make this transition?
Good question. Yeah. The thing about it, me personally, once I read about the pills and what they were in it, I made it straight away. I would never tell another person to do that because some people, they go to what they call cold turkey. Yeah. But I made it straight away because I knew I tried to kill myself. And I figured this pill tried to kill me. So I made it straight away. Once I made it, I stopped eating bacon. I stopped eating eggs. I stopped eating rice and peas, rice. I stopped eating butter. I stopped it all because once I started finding what was cancerogenic, that was actually putting the poisons into my body, I stopped. But I'm not going to tell you I'm a vegetarian because I'm not a vegetarian. Because one of the most important things about eating is that a lot of people, because my mother used to say to me, you need to fast. And I say to my mother, why do I need to fast? She go, God says so. And I just say, nah, I ain't fasting. And it's the way she put it. But now I really do understand what she means about fasting. But one of the things that you've got to do when you're on these medications, you've got to detox. You've got to get the chemicals and the toxins out of your body first, and then start putting the good stuff in, basically.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is absolutely brilliant, touching as well, and very honest. I see there's a couple of questions still put in there. We can save those until later on, or maybe you can answer the questions during the break, because we're going to a break now. Royston, over to you.
Okay. Didn't hear that. My video is, my internet is internet is really playing up. Okay, so we're going to take a 7-minute break. We've got a short 7-minute video clip to show you. If you need to have a break, get water or what have you. But this video clip will be running for 7 minutes. Thank you.
Stead, could you put your details along the side in the chat room?
Oh, sorry. So
put your details in the chat room.
Hold on. I should have put this up. This is the details for Stead. If you care to take a picture of that or a screenshot of that. Unfortunately, though some of you might have missed it, Sister Yvonne Douglas has a cracked rib and is unable to be with us tonight. But Sister Lorna and Griot Chinyere are both here to present after our short break. Okay, I'll put this this screen up again later. Right, so a short video clip.
We can't hear anything.
Okay. Let's go again.
I was walking town and I saw our ladies slapping their scalps and scratching and so on. And I observed that other races don't do that. The whites don't do that. The Chinese don't do that. The Indians don't do that. So I asked the girls in my office, what is it? What is happening? And they said, oh, doctor, it's the weaves, they're itchy. I said, okay, educate me. What are these weaves? They said, well, there's 100% human hair, which is Indian, Brazilian, Peruvian, etc., which is quite expensive. And then there's the cheaper stuff, the synthetic fibers made by the Chinese and the Koreans. Now, I traveled to all these countries several times. You know, Korea, China, India, Brazil. So when I was in India, that's when I discovered that if we are family and we lose a member of the family, all the ladies in the family go to the temple where they worship, and they have all their hair shaven off. That hair is a sacrifice to their gods. What hit me personally was I saw those homeless, very poor people, their hair was being shaved off. I saw people I thought were sickly, maybe they had TB or something, their hair was being shaven off. Then, I don't know, some people maybe had sores on their scalp because as they were being shaven off, they were bleeding. So I said to myself, what is this? How did we, black people, end up in this space where we buy this, where we pay US dollars for this? Now, to make it worse, when the hair is cut off, it falls on the floor. Then you get people, putting little hips and so on. And then they were sorting it out. They were removing worms. They were removing lice. That day, I said to myself, no, there's something not right with us paying for this. When we grew up, there were no waves. So how did this start? Who started it? And who told the black lady that you're not beautiful? To be more beautiful, you must wear this thing. If we go to a restaurant and you have expensive food, and we're eating the food, we find human hair in there, we won't take it, it's contaminated. And if you and I go to Nyare's mother and said, oh, Mama Zara, we're here, we'd like to shave each other's hair, can we do it in your kitchen? She'll say, oh, no, because the hair once shaved off is dirt. We throw it away. So gentlemen, do it outside and don't bring the hair into my house.
But people will say, that this hair gets washed, right, in a process that's done, it gets cleaned, pegged nicely and so forth. Does your point still stand?
Yes, it does. I was speaking to a trichologist, somebody specializing, he's got a doctorate in hair and so on. Hair does not die, it's alive. Okay. So somebody commits a crime here and they leave a piece of hair, even 25 years later we can catch them because of DNA in the hair. And the trichologists tell us that if hair is in touch with another tissue, there is exchange of genetic material. People don't know this, which means people who are gluing the hair or whatever, stitching, whatever, there's exchange of genetic material. They don't know what they're getting. It may not show in that individual, but in grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Trevor, there are three sources of this hair: live people, dead people, and of course these fibers. Just before burial, the hair is shaved off. Then they immediately get buried. They showed me a warehouse, huge warehouse, full of that hair, from here to over there. And he said to them, gentlemen, what are you doing with all this hair of people who've just been buried? And they said, oh, black people. Black people love this hair. If you ask ladies with the expensive hair, the natural hair, if you say to them, is this hair from a dead person or a live person? They don't know. Now, this hair, it will fall off in here, in the bathroom, in the kitchen and so on. This dead people's hair, we don't know what those people died of. We don't know what disease was running in their family. We just buy. What our people don't realize is this. Our skin and our hair, they need to breathe. Caucasians, white people, have that kind of hair and that kind of skin because they come from a cold climate. -10, -20 degrees Celsius. There is snow. So that hair and that skin is an adaptation to their habitat, the environment. So that's why when white people come to this part of the world, because of the sun, they get skin cancers because they don't have pigment. This pigment is worth more than gold. And that is why albinos also get skin cancers because they have no pigment. That's why people who have applied Ambi also get damage, permanent damage to the skin. So we buy this. So weaves or wigs, whatever, and put them on top of our own hair. Now, it means the scalp cannot breathe. Some people keep this for 4 weeks or even longer. What's happening? I said to the ladies, you get the hair on your scalp, your armpits, your private parts. Wherever there's hair, there's smelling. Now imagine the smell after 2 days. How does that sweat smell after 4 weeks? You know, when they go for 4 weeks, this sweat, 4-week-old sweat plus dandruff. And because of that, you get bacteria, because the bacteria love this environment. It's hot, it's wet. The bacteria get fat, feeding on the 4-week-old sweat, 4-week-old dandruff, and they multiply like crazy. I can tell you now, Trevor, all these ladies that we see, they have millions, billions, trillions, zillions of bacteria on their scalp. And these bacteria then chew on the scalp, and each time they're doing this, they're touching 4-week-old sweat, dandruff, and bacteria. And you know, they don't wash their hands. Maybe they're in a combi or in a bus, they just get on, they're touching plates and all this and all that. I find it. I want.
Yuck.
What's happening? Did it finish, Royston, or is he frozen? Royston's frozen.
Looks like he's frozen again.
Okay, all right then. So with that now,
Message.
are you okay now?
Hold on, let me just mute everybody. Okay, Auntie Jean, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for that clip. It did stop freezing, but I hope most of everybody got the actual gist of the actual video. And you know, we know where, well, if you didn't know before, you know now where the hair actually comes from and why people tap them head. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to our next presentation, a sister called Lorna Hunte. And Lorna is the CEO of Blaze 2 Holistic Therapies. And Lorna is a energy healer and a teacher. And her presentation is about past life and ancestral work. So Lorna, I'd like you to please introduce yourself. Oh, but before you do, everybody make sure that you got your pens and your papers to write down your questions that ever comes up to ask after the presentation, please. Okay, so Lorna Hunte, the screen is now yours. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lorna, and the short version is that I am an energy healer. Energy is everywhere. We need to understand that. Everything we eat is energy. You know, because we eat, we need to make sure that energy. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, good.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
All right, thanks. And I'd just like to talk to you about my path. My path is of energy work, spiritual healing, mediumship, and I am an angelic Reiki master, an animal Reiki master, and I work with Lemurian crystals in particular, very ancient crystals that have a lot of information that we need to come back to. I'm also a shaman, stroke medicine woman. My main shamanic that I've been initiating to is Lakota Indian. Although, you know, shamanism is in every culture, every part of the world. And that's how we all used to survive. We all used to survive with the person who could communicate with nature. The main thing that I want to talk about as well is our disassociation from nature. We no longer follow the seasons. We force the earth to give us stuff like, we want a strawberry in winter. we'll get it, because we force the earth to grow more and more things like that. How many, as we're going back to food, how many food does no longer taste the same because we no longer allow it to ripen properly so that we can get the proper goodness and at the right time. What also makes me interested at the moment is that science is finally catching up with healing. And they've now said that, you know, Reiki now works, for example. All right. So it's a long story. I've been doing this since 1999. And my journey is going and continues to learn. Never stop learning. What I would like to do at some point as well, I do drumming. And I use drumming as a form of sound healing, relaxation, and also journeying to find out who you are. When we talk about who you are, we have lost so much because we've been taken away from who we are, what our nature was. We have been mingled with so many other cultures that, you know, the only thing that we have in common most of the time now is actually the color of our skin. That defines us. There's so many people now trying to go back to who we were, trying to find out the natural things, the stories, as you say, the food, as you say. It's so important to understand that, because our bodies are not meant to have all the chemicals or the processing of the foods. We're not made like that. All right. Anyway, going back to everything else. With energy, I teach about the whole body. That's why it's holistic. That's the mind, the body, the emotions, and the spirit. What I've developed into at the moment is doing past lives and ancestral work. Since I've started to focus a lot more on that, I've actually become a lot more busier. And the purpose of this is that if you understand it or believe it, some people don't, our past lives affect who we are now. Some people will remember a fear of water, for example, but can't understand why there's not fear, why they've got this fear of water. But with past life work, you can sometimes find they may have been drowned, or they may have watched somebody being drowned. Sometimes it's about our energy in terms of, you know, when people so angry, upset. It's like when you've gone through a trauma, and in order to protect yourself, you split into different energies. Sometimes you will block yourself. So in other words, I will never be angry because I don't want to give what I've been receiving. I don't want to hit somebody because I was also hit, and I know what that pain is. But there has to be a balance. You cannot ever get rid of all your anger because it's part of who you are. What you can get rid of is the extreme anger, all right, or the blind anger. That you can get rid of. And just understanding that. It's getting you to a calmer place that you are able to actually deal with all the issues that are inside of you and around you. Really, again, really quite important. In going through the past lives, sometimes it goes into your ancestors, and you'll get, or I can get, information that will help you to understand who you were, how you can get your ancestors to help you now. So this is a very different way of dealing with it, because we don't have the written knowledge, and we've lost a lot of the storytelling, as you say. So it's about how do you do it. When I first came into doing this, which was quite by accident, I went into a shop that was doing like little crystals and books and little fairy things. And I thought, what is this shop? And I walked in there and picked up, in the end, I picked up a book called Your Healing Hands. That started me on my journey, and an understanding that I'm a channel. I channel energy. The energy, I'm like the flex. If you turn the light on and the light bulbs goes on, I'm the bit that holds the energy on the flex. So it's not my personal energy. Otherwise, I would be like a battery, and I would be drained quite easily. Following on from that, I was on my first course, residential course, and a guy came down and said at breakfast time, this is the time I didn't understand mediumship, by the way, because I was really frightened of it. And he said, I've been woken up, he said, at 4 o'clock in the morning with a message for you. And I went, me? And he went, yes. And he described to a T my grandmother and my great aunt, exactly what they were, who they were. They both had, one had sticks and one had a Zimmer frame. And it described her front room. And you know, in those days, the floor shone, right? So he described all of that, and I knew who they were. And what they said was they were happy that I was following the path, because again, I didn't realize that this path that I've been on was way down my ancestral line. And what I understood was that some of this, what I'm talking about, is my grandmother used to work with herbs, for example, and that was part of that. Yeah, my mum would have dreams about something that's going to happen or not happen. Yeah, so I'm talking about just getting back to we are very sensitive beings. All right, highly sensitive, and we need to be communicating and going back to who we are. When we talk about the power and the abilities that we had, and all the might, you know, our minds were great. We did a lot of building, we did everything else, and slowly somehow that was taken away from us, and we need to re-establish that back into context. Crystals are important, also equally important. They can make you feel better. They can give you information. And sometimes it's just about color, even color. How many times you walked into your wardrobe and said, something keeps saying, oh, wear pink today. And you think, no. But it keeps nagging at you. Wear it. There's always a reason why you have to wear a certain color at a certain time. All right, but that's to do with color therapy. Yeah. And also, again, energy. So everything I do at the moment is working with energy, communicating with energy. The energy of the plants is, again, another thing. How did our ancestors know which plant to pick up and use for, you know, to give you as medicine? How did they know that? The only way they knew that was they would listen, sit still and listen to the plants. The plants will guide you. It sounds strange, but it does work if you sit very still enough. How many times maybe if you've gone to a walk in the park and you've been feeling really rough or horrible or run down, and you walk near a tree and suddenly you feel yourself being uplifted, or energies, you know, making you feel better. That's the trees giving you back what you need. We are already in, we can't live without trees. We give them our CO2, they give us their oxygen, right? And this is so important that people with money don't seem to understand. They kill our trees, they're killing us. You know, and it's the same thing with the bees. So it's everything is integrated with everything else, really, is the bottom line from that, all right? So I'm going to leave it there, because sometimes I can go waffling on for ages, but sometimes it's better if if you feel, yeah? So what I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to actually do a short drum journeying. Now, meditation is different. It's that you're trying to try to get your still, calm center. With journeying, you go in with an intention, with a question. and you're more conscious of what's going on. So all I'd like you to think about before I ask you to do it is to think about what you would like to change in yourself, and or if are there any sort of ailments or anything else that you think that you'd like help with. You know, maybe you got a bad back or something like that. Just think of those things. Yeah. I'm going to ask you to be sensitive enough and open-minded enough that if you sense or see any animals, all right, any animals, plants or insects, don't dismiss them. And I'll explain why, you know, when we finish, yeah? Also, don't be surprised if you think, there's some of you may think, well, if I've seen a unicorn or anything else, doesn't matter. Anything that comes through, it's important for you to understand what we are connected to. Okay, all right. So I'll show you my big boy drum. I do hand drumming, which is, so this is my American, not American, sorry, this is my English Red Deer drum that I made here. And the lady that made it, helped me make it, was from Finland. So it was off the Finland vibration that helped me to make this. Sweat and blood, and I nearly threw it out the window at times, because you know, sometimes it's hard to maintain it, but I did, and it's now my drum at the moment. Yeah. So if you want to make yourself comfortable as possible, okay, and I'm just hoping you can hear this as well. Okay, so I just want you to close your eyes. Take a nice, slow, deep breath. As that breath goes out, think of all the things that you'd like to change, that healing that you'd like to receive. Now think of a lovely place that you feel safe and warm in. Think about that place. If your mind wanders, allow it to wander, but then gently bring it back to a nice place. I'll leave you there for 5 minutes.
Hi sis, sorry we couldn't hear the
Yeah,
drum.
I know. I don't know why.
So, and when we did hear it was cutting in and out.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, could anybody who's sort of relaxed, can you just sort of come back? I don't know what it is then.
Okay.
I thought I'd checked it all out, but obviously not.
Yeah, but it was the sound was cutting in and out.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody got anything from that. Would you said if it's possible to get any feedback? Do you want feedback now?
Yeah, if they did, yeah, please.
Does anybody got any feedback from that of what you heard or what came to mind? Did anything come to mind to anybody or for anybody?
No, yeah.
I got to my mango tree. And yeah, sat in my mango tree for a little while, and then I found myself in a country lane in just in Kent, you know, where I would normally drive. So it's a picture that I'm aware of, and I'm remembering the deer that I once encountered, a young deer that had come through the fence, and you know, watching it running to try and find a way back through the hedge. Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. 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 My apologies. I don't know what you could, but you can hear me now, though, can't you?
Yeah.
Loud.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've got to, you know, I've got a big enough mic. Look. So I'll have to experiment some more. Why it keeps doing that. All right. Things like that.
A deer came to mind with me as well.
Sorry.
A deer came to mind with me as well.
Good.
I imagine my house that was all finished in Jamaica. a stream going by, and the deer was at the bottom. But yeah.
Again, they're very, very spiritual animals, especially if it's the stag. All right, so very, very spiritual. So I'll second.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Who's that?
I can hear you.
Okay, it's Mumsy here. Cool. I had a sense of a horse.
Lovely.
It was coming from the side, like the corner of a screen. I imagined it. And it was like a flowing mane. It was like a white horse, and then it turned brown, and then I had an image of a cat.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't quite understand. I don't know if you've got any idea what that's all about.
All right. Did you get on the horse?
No. It was just like it was, like when something's like at the side of your screen, the corner, so I think like it's coming towards me almost, coming out to like a 3D effect, like it's coming out from the screen towards you.
Okay. The image of the horse is an incredible, powerful animal, very intelligent, and it's making itself known to you. All right. And what it is that we have what we call power animals. Shaman, and we also have totem animals. Now, your totem animal is like your guardian angel. They were with you all the time. May not, as I said, and the power animals come in from time to time to help you, to give you messages, to calm you down. All right. And again, the cat is very, very, they're great healers. All right. So if you're not well, if you've got cats or dogs and they come up to around you, they'll curl up and they will give you healing. All right. They make you feel better. All right. From that. So the other thing is whatever animal you see or feel or sense around you, later on, look up power animal and then whatever it is. There's a lot of information out there, and it will explain a bit more why you got those two animals. Okay. Go on.
May I say?
Hi.
Yes. A huge bee.
You got
a huge bee, a big bee.
Oh, bee, lovely. Yeah. All right. So very industrious, very it's something you got to start doing. Yeah, being very more active. But
say that again, please.
Sorry? About being more active, but also it's about being able to see things while you're going quite fast.
Sounds practical.
That makes sense? Yeah?
It does, but to me, you're breaking up a little. I don't know if everybody else is getting that.
What is going on?
I heard parts of it. You said something I'm not doing, or otherwise.
Yeah,
should be doing.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Repeat what you said, Sister Lorna.
Yeah, okay. With the bee, all right, they're very industrial.
Let me unmute. Maybe I should unmute.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's very, with the bees, very industrious. It likes to work, all right, and it works for the colony. Yeah, so just the thing about animals is you need to understand who they are and what they do to give you a clue as to why they're coming to you at this point in time. Yeah. And again, with the honey, which is very, very good for you as well. Honey is, antibacterial. It does so much things. All right. So just remember, okay. Yes, you need a bit of honey as well. Use honey more. Yeah, and stuff like that. So, anybody else?
Hi.
Oh yeah.
My one was a Black Panther.
Oh, lovely. Mine's that too. All right. So again, what the idea of the Black Panther is that it watches. It's very careful, as all cats are. But also for this one, it's about the camouflage as well. Yeah, so it's about knowing your power, retaining your power, not only just as a woman, but as a Black person. Does that make some sense to you? Sheila? Oh. Yeah, anybody else?
Anybody else?
Yeah, can I just say, I didn't get anything this season, but I always, most of the time,
see a python, a snake, and I have a phobia to them, but I always see them. I feel them, and they're around me. If you could just give me some kind of explanation.
Yes, unfortunately, sometimes they give you things you don't like. All right, but it's about facing your fears. Yeah, what are you afraid of at the moment that causes you to not function? The other thing with the was it a python?
Yeah, it's always like a big, horrible one.
Right, yeah. But the thing about the python is, oh, sorry, where did you see it? Was it around your back or was it around your feet?
I just get a visual in my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not necessarily around me. I have this visual of like a snake, and then I just try to blot it out completely. I don't even think about it because I don't like them.
Okay, there is definitely something that you've got to face, all right? Because snakes are about change. They're not always horrible that everyone thinks about. They're about change, especially if they shed their skin, all right? It becomes a new person. So it's about you. Do you understand Kundalini?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's also about possibly wanting that for you to rise. Yeah. But you've got to get over the fear of the snake in order to allow your sensitivities to raise up.
Metaphorically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah. Spiritually as well, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So it's not necessarily something physical that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's something else.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And also it could be one of your power animals, you see.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry about that.
I never thought about it like that at all.
Yeah, they're actually really good. They can help you to ground, and be in connection with the ground. Also, when you're thinking about animals, they sense and feel things so differently to what we do. So again, so it's about with a snake, they smell with their tongue. Yeah. All right. The ant will, sense things by the hairs in its feet. So it's about understanding how they are, what they're doing, how they're moving. And sometimes that gives you a clue as to why they come to you at this point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can understand the shedding, like there's something new. Yes. I can really understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it wants to help you, but it's got to give you the clues for you to say, okay, I'm going to do this now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So sorry about the sound. I've still got to work on it.
All right.
Because I've got my because I also teach support groups for other healers or sensitive people or therapists. Okay. And so that they're monthly groups that I work on. So so I've got my drumming group on Monday, so I've got to get it sorted out by then.
Okay, thank you very much. Lorna.
Thank you, Lorna.
Very.
I'll put my details on the list. Is it okay?
Yes, you can do that, and we've also got Royston's got your details as well to put up, so you can still put yours on this side and put it in the chat room.
Okay. Thank you.
And if you've got a website, you can put the website there in the chat room.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Right, we're coming up. We're going to have our next presenter. Our final presentation for today. Another lady, a sister called Griot Chinyere, and from the Shanti Chi. And basically, her presentation is going to be about how to cast an effective storytelling spell to strengthen the mind. Griot Chinyere, please.
Greetings.
Yourself, and I know that you're going to say your full title, because I don't want to be tongue-tied because I can never get anybody's things right. So I'm leaving that to you to introduce your project, your life, your thing. The screen is now yours, Griot Chinyere.
Thank you. So my name is Griot Chinyere, Nwaubani. I am a storyteller. I'm the artistic director for Shanti-Chi, which is an African storytelling company. I am the founder of the Inne Argo African Storytelling Festival. I come from a long line of mystics, storytellers, dibias. We call them dibias in Igbo culture, which is the same as shaman. On my mother's side, my grandmother was an oracle and a seer, and my grandfather was the chief. And in the way it worked in that village is that people would come to the chief, but he would only make choices and decisions after speaking to my grandmother, who would look in her big treasure trove of stories, tell my grandfather a story, and then he would know what to do. And on my father's side, I have my grandmother and my grandfather, they were both herbalists. But they used storytelling, so you would go to them, you tell them what your problem is, then they would go into trance with the divine natural energies of the universe, and then they would create a story, a healing story for you specifically with herbs. So you'd come, and as they told the story, you could feel the healing happening, and they would give you herbs and the story so that you could tell yourself that story to help your own healing. So that's my background. Oh, my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, he left his village and started a whole village of his own. That's the Nwaubani, N-W-A-U-B-A-N-I, which means child of treasured earth. So he left his village and searched for some land to start a whole new village. So it's a little bit about my background. So it's kind of inevitable that I do what I do. And today I just wanted to tell a little story, because off of that story, I will hook some of the ideas that I'm talking about. And it's based around the story of the Magnificent Seven, the seven warriors. So you have a village, and I want you to listen for the parallels between the people in the story and us, our community. So there's a village of people, and they are farmers, and they work very hard, and they live surrounded by mountains. And every so often during the course of the year, a group of bandits would come and take all of their food, everything that they've, and maybe leave them enough so that they could work to create more food. This time, one of the farmers is angry, and he says, "No, I don't want to do this anymore." And he stands up to the bandits, and the bandits shoot him, which sends a ripple of fear throughout the village, but also anger. Once the bandits have gone, they have a conversation, and they are, what are we going to do? I can't continue to live this way. We want to be free of fear. We want to live our lives, grow our food, and do just without this oppression, without this suppression, without colonialism, without all of this pressure on our heads every year trying to make food enough for us and the bandits. So they're like, well, what can we do? What can we do? So they've set the vision. The vision is they want to live free of fear. That's the vision. So now it's the story that they need to tell in order to achieve the vision. What do we need to do? Well, we need to fight them, but we're farmers. We know how to grow. We don't know how to fight, so we can't do that. Okay, so maybe we can find people who will fight on our behalf if we pay them. So that's the solution that they came up with. So that's that part of the story. So they got their money together and their bits of whatever they had, and they sent one of their people off to go and find a warrior that will come and fight for their cause so they can get rid of the bandits. They went into town and he found one, and the warrior wasn't interested. The warrior was like, "You're not offering me enough money. I can't see the point. And so, but please, we need you." Now, this guy that's come to get the warrior, he's got a whole village behind him. And the first part of their story is bring some warriors. So he can't return to his village without bringing the warriors. So he insists, and you see his confidence grow. because he knows he can't go home without the warrior. So he goes on and on and on and on and on. He's determined, and he refuses to be distracted. He's focused. Eventually the warrior's like, okay. He takes him on because the warrior is a hired hand, and he knows that in his life he doesn't have wife, doesn't have children, doesn't have family, and he wants to balance the books. So he wants to do something good in his life. So he agrees. And then this warrior goes out and recruits another 6 warriors. And these 6 warriors return with the farmer to the village. Everyone's happy. Okay, in that time, they see that all the women, all the sacred ones have disappeared. The women have gone, the children have gone, the elders have gone. Why? So the warriors say, if you want us to work with you, you have to trust us and bring the whole of your people here. So then that's something that they have to get over and get through. They get to know each other. In the meantime, the bandits return. The bandits are not expecting to see people who can fight there. So they're thrown off. The bandits promise to come back again. And in that time, the warriors say to the whole village, you are going to have to learn to fight. So then there's the journey of them going from just being farmers. I say just, but it's really important to know who's growing the food. It's important to know how to grow food. They go from being farmers to being fighters. They have to fight for their space. So you see them training, using their farming equipment, learning how to fight, using spears and sticks and guns. When the bandits return, this is the big climax. There's a big fight. People lose their lives, but the farmers win. The bandits leave, having big casualties, never to return. And the farmers feel confident now, knowing that if anybody comes, they feel confident enough to fight for their space. So why do I tell you? So in the beginning, remember, they set the agenda. They created the vision. I want to live without fear. And then they created the story that they wanted, that they needed to achieve their vision. Storytelling is all that. That's what storying is about. How do we fight? So do we have guns? No. Do we have hand grenades and bombs? No. But we do have our minds. As melanin-rich people, our minds are the most powerful, our imagination is the most powerful tool we have. All of the media know that if they fill our heads with their story, then we talk their story and we live their story and we think their story, so their story is what comes to pass. If we want our story to come to pass, we have to cut all of that out and we have to think to ourselves, what do we want for our children and our children's children? It's a battle for our minds. It's a battle for our souls. It's a battle for our spirits. That's what keeps this whole thing functioning. And we have to clear it, totally clear it and start afresh. We have to use our imagination to think of a life where we are the center and we are the important ones. And we have to start to create that story. What do we want? So I'll give you a vision. So now we've got pyramids, a pyramid of power, human power. We're at the bottom of this pyramid, holding the whole thing up. We are holding up all the symbols of oppression. We're holding up religion. We're holding up politics. We're holding up all the corporations. We pay. We make sure that everything is held up. Let's imagine, let's just use our imagination and see those symbols of oppression, see them being sucked up by a big, massive melanin-rich hole. Imagine it, just imagine it. So the first place we have to be is imagine it. I'm sure when the guy was like, I want my freedom, he was just imagining it. Imagine it. And this sucking up all the symbols of oppression, all that weight off of our shoulders. Now we have all of that weight off of our shoulders. What will we now create? Circles of love. Let's imagine that. Circles of love overlapping like a Venn diagram, living close to nature, our imagination. Because some of us struggle with thinking that the world could be different. Often we say, well, this is the way the world is, so we have to accept it. When you talk about how the world is, did you have any input into visioning the world in the way that it is now? Consciously, no. But we do have that power. Let's use our imagination. Dismantle that pyramid and create circles of love, overlapping, where we can live in harmony with ourselves. If that means getting rid of everybody else, getting rid of all the Wazungus, getting rid of all the Asians, getting rid of everybody, so that we are free to live, then so will it be. And they get sucked up into the black hole, which develops the idea of complementary. So it's not about oppression, it's about complementary. Let's complement, live, what did the sister say? Live in complementary energy with nature. What feeds the imagination? Clean air, oxygen. We need, it comes back to the breath. If you breathe, you learn to relax. And when you learn to relax, you learn to free your mind, and you allow your imagination to be free to think about the kind of world that you want to be in. But the quality of the air that you breathe is what will make the difference. So are you breathing in car fumes? Because the knowledge that comes with car fumes, are you breathing in central heating? Are you breathing in cigarette smoke? Are you breathing in all pollution? Or are you breathing in the air of trees, the air from the nature, the air from the top of a mountain? What air are you breathing? Because the quality of you, have you surrounded yourself with plants? Do you spend time in the garden, in the parks, in the forest, in the woods, by the ocean? This air, when you breathe this air, this is the air that will feed your imagination. And this is the air that will help your imagination to be free. Free enough to be able to vision the world that you want to live with, because we have that power. If you think it's not true, then it's not true. If you feel that we don't have that power, then we don't have that power. But I know, as a melanin-rich storyteller from a very powerful, mystic, strong line of people, and these are the stories and the messages that are given to me to share with you, I know it's true. But I can't do this by myself. I mean, it's one of the reasons I started the Inner Argyle African Storytelling Festival, is that we would gather together in a natural environment, breathe deeply, and talk about the story we want to tell to arrive at the place that we all want to get to. Feed the imagination with clean, fresh air. Number one, that's the thing that we need the most. Feed your body with good food. The brother spoke about that earlier on. Water, and drink clean water. But all of these things are reliant on good, clean air. Good, clean air. You can't have clean food with dirt, because you're going to water that food with clean water. That's going to make a difference. It's going to be, photosynthesis is going to happen, but it needs to be created in the right environment. If your food is created in a room, where is the air? Where is the photosynthesis happening? Where is nature? Where are the forces of nature happening? So I'm saying, use our imaginations to write stories. Ask your children, ask your neighbors, you yourself, write the stories of dismantling the pyramid to create the stories of love, the circles of love. That story, once upon a time, there was this evil pyramid, and we went through this process, we dismantled it, and now we have circles of love. We have to write those stories. Our head is full of Hollywood, our head is full of TV, and those stories are the ones that are dominating us. We need to write our own stories, because that is what will make a difference to the future. We can make prophecy using storytelling, but we have to know that to be true. We have to feel that in our heart, in our melanin. We have to open our imaginations. So without breath, we struggle. We struggle to think. We struggle to speak. We struggle to live. And that's why nature is essential and is central to everything that I do. And I would like to invite that it becomes central to everything that you do. So my last thing before I finish, I'd like to say to you, imagine, we're not going to argue about whether reincarnation exists, just accept that it does for the purposes. And you will return, all of you, you're going to return in 900 years' time. Okay, and when you return, the world is going to be exactly how you need it to be in order to feel good about who you are, about your past, about your future, and about the generations to come. We have been reinstated as guardians of the world. We've been reinstated, okay? 900 years down the line, when you return, that's what you see. Pow! Whoa! Yeah, love it. Pow. What do we need to do now to make that happen? That's what we need to think about 900 years down the line, because people are thinking further into, not your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan. That's personal. Community, we need to think 900 years down the line. And we need to write all of that down. So that if it doesn't, what we do our best in our lifetime, and then we get our children to do their bit, and so when we come back in 900 years' time, it is how we visioned it to be. What do we need to do now? Create the vision and then write the story. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
Powerful story. And I see some people have put in the chat as well about them. They love storytelling, real talk, and they love, they love the stories. They love the stories. Has anybody got anything to say? Any comments about what you just heard?
Yeah.
The story. Yes, Lorna.
Yeah, because I just want to add to what you're talking about, the stories and the films, and we need to create what we do. However, if you look at some of the films and stuff that's out there already that comes across as science fiction or, a film, there's a lot of facts in a lot of these films, and it's happening right now. So, so that's the power of telling stories, even though you're telling the truth, but it comes through in a story. Terminator, as you said in that the clip, Terminator, if you look at Total Recall, it's all what they're trying to strive for, all right, which is taking us away from nature, and everything's going to be for technology, electronic cars, and stuff that's not going to be, good for us.
Okay, and that's why I say, they're putting out their image, they're putting their image out there.
Yeah.
And the best way to interrupt an image that's not good for you is to have your own image, to have your own story, to have your own visions.
Yeah.
And we are here, or we're on Zoom, and it's good that we know how to use Zoom, but we should use it in order to write those stories that are gonna create the vision for our future, the future that we want. Because oftentimes people say, oh, this is the future. And I will ask, did you write that? And they'll be like, no, somebody else did. I goes, well, why have you then decided to take it on as yours? Is it what you want?
Yeah. But we're not taking it on as we're being forced to at the moment.
No, we're not. We are taking it on. But that's what I'm saying. We don't have to. If you say we have to, then of course we're going to. But we can do something about it. We can stop it. That's the point. We have more power than we give ourselves credit for. We are not forced to do anything. I mean, we sit here, we know the program, but we're not forced. The only things that happen they happen with our consent. What stops us is our fear. That's what stops us, is fear. And it's how do we overcome fear enough, build our confidence enough to be able to go, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
As a group, as
individuals,
as the world.
The chain is only as strong as the weakest link.
Yeah, so it was proved the other day when the weekend of people sending energy to the planet, to each other, just by kind thoughts, energy, and it did shift. It shifted a lot of stuff, because it then started to come out, and people started to actually start protesting about things which they weren't doing before. So it's absolutely right. It does do it. All right, but if we don't, then yes, what I'm saying is, it will come to pass.
Yeah, I'm not a great one on protesting, but I prefer to vision. What do I want, as opposed to I don't like what you're doing. I'd rather that's what I want.
Any other question or comment?
I wanted to make a comment and say,
Hi, Sheila.
Hello. Hi. I wanted to say, one, thank you very much. And in concerns to believing and gathering that thought, I believe that we do have an opportunity here to create that. And as that seed is planted, I definitely think that from the part of us that grows that, all we have to do is uncover the belief, and it will come about, and just strive, because it's not going to be easy. We just have to know that we all have a particular part to contribute towards that. And thank you very much for that encouragement and that story, Chinyere.
You're welcome. I would like to encourage you. So can I say something?
Yeah, then I'll ask a question. Yeah.
I'd like to encourage you to shift from that word belief to knowing, because knowing is a lot more powerful. Like if you know that you have this power, you know that you can achieve what you need to achieve, as opposed to a belief, then you just go about it with a certain determination and a focus, just knowing.
My question is, some of us has been so damaged by the system that we have lost that belief in our ability to do. And I often encourage people to write it down, write this, you know, get your thoughts on paper and so on, so you can look at it and examine it. But that journey of just being able to write a story, your story, do you have a suggestion of how people can begin from that place of being fearful to write? And some of us, you know, got beaten about our handwriting. So the idea of picking up a pen and writing is also adverse to us. Do you have a message or an encouragement of how people can just begin to write something towards building into their story?
Well, I mean, I don't want to tell you, all come see me and do my training, because I mean, I'm not the answer to all of the questions, but I would say, be brave, know that you're being brave, and just get yourself a piece of blank paper and a pen and just sit there and see what comes. Play your favorite music and write down what you want, or draw what you want. Even if it's just one word, just start with one word and expand on that one word when you're ready. But start with just a blank sheet of paper and a pen, play your favorite music. If you're feeling rather tense, have a little dance, loosen yourself up, do the shake, and then, but go from a place of, you have to find that play in you and return to a place. Think of a time in your life when you were feeling relaxed and happy. I mean, we've all got at least one of those. So start from that place.
Thank you.
That's good.
I had a question for Lorna, and it's to do with the drum. You said your drum had Finnish vibration. Yeah? And I just wondered, and you also said, apart from the common thing of our complexion, our colour, many of us have nothing in common.
It's what's been taken out of us, is what I was talking about. Yeah, we don't have the connections, like the lady said, you know, like... Can
I just ask a question, and then maybe your response might be...
yeah, go on then, say that again.
The question I want to ask, Mila, was about the different vibrations that individuals may have as a consequence of different cultural effects or impacts.
Right, okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah. My particular drum has, yes, it has that, it's another shamanic village, if you like. So I had her influence in how it was made, but I had the energy of the deer, all right, which is there. But I've also got the energy of the shaman of the Lakota people, And I've also got the, I was also told of the angels as well, because when I drum, I'm sorry you couldn't hear it, but there's also like a singing bowl effect at the same time. So although I'm hitting it, you'll hear the singing bowl. Okay. So yes, energy goes through the drum from whatever I channel, all right, and or I'm connected to will go through. If I'm standing drumming and I move it towards the sunlight, and the sunlight hits it, I'm channeling that sunlight through the drum to the person to be healed. So yes, it's the connection. Basically, it's a connection with the animal is a basic first one. You thank the animal for allowing you to use that skin. So that's connection there. And then it's a connection with the earth, and it's a connection with nature. So each
with the cultural origins of the individuals.
It will be part. It will no, not really, because I'm just channeling the energy. So although I hold, it's like I hold the energy to go through the drum. All right, and that is what is help. That's what helps people. That's why I say sometimes it's easier for you to feel it, and unfortunately because of the mic you couldn't to feel what I'm talking about rather than explaining it. It's each drum. If you've got the Asian drum, if you've got the African drum, will have different beats. You've got the Chinese drums; they beat slightly different. You've got the Irish drums. Vibrations, but they all will be doing it for a reason, whether it's religious, whether it's healing, whether it's a dance, enjoyment, celebration. You know, it's whatever you're doing at that point in time while you're using the drum. Does that make sense?
I understand, because I was more concerned about the cultural influence of people whose DNA might be passing through your own body.
No, it's not about that. It's about sound. Sound is universal. All right. It's so if you talk about the sound of the whales, sound of the dolphins, the sound of the wind, what soothes you? Yeah, you might listen to a nice calming bit of music that will soothe you. Somebody will look at really loud music, but it relaxes them. It's what affects you, but it's not about DNA on that point. And that's why when I'm drumming or my drumming group, I don't call myself a shamanic drummer, because I drum with shamanism, Reiki, the angels. So whatever energies comes through that drum to help that person. And that's how I work.
Yeah, it's called frequency, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. The kilohertz, megahertz to the kilohertz, isn't it?
Yeah. It can be with that. I mean, with certain, that's why with certain, if I'm just doing totally Lakota drumming, then they drum with certain beats. All right. But if I'm just freestyling, just letting whatever comes through, then my beats may go all over the place. But if we're drumming in a group, which I do part of a 70 to 100 a group, people just drumming, we're drumming the same beat, and that becomes more and more powerful the more you drum. And that vibration will go through that person or whoever we're sending it out to. It's not at that point, not about DNA, it's about energy. Yeah?
So that there, about the vibration, that's how my grandparents work with the stories, the vibration of words,
yes,
the vibration of the sound, the voice, the vibration of the breath. You know, that's how they work when people are coming to get their healing. And they bring in the herbs and that vibration and the structure of those words put together specifically to heal the individual that is there before them. Yeah, exactly. And the words is the breath. It's what we do when we first born. We're alive, and it's the last thing we do before we die. So the breath is the first point of call when it comes to healing, and the words that we construct and cast, because we cast a spell. When the vision is clear, and the vision is clear through the words that we speak, the breath that we take, and we cast a spell.
And for myself, because at the moment I'm also developing my voice, so following what you're saying, so I will do toning as well. So even though I might be doing the drum, I might suddenly tone, and then again that comes down to whatever. But again,
you know, you was talking about the drum. I was at a dusk till dawn session in Oxley's Woods, and there were 3 sisters.
Yes.
It was me and Kalila and another sister, and we were drumming, and all the trees around us started to sing.
Yep.
I mean, it was just amazing. I'd never heard that. And the brothers were like, "What are you sisters doing?" We were drumming, and the trees were singing, and we could hear the vibration coming back, and that was, yeah, it was powerful. And we're not great drummers, so it wasn't about being a great drummer. It was about being in tune with the natural environment, and that was the stories that we were telling that evening, created that energy and sent out that vibration.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It's amazing. It's magic. It's magic without the technology. You know, it's just natural.
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful.
Lorna, you said something quite beautiful there. You said in terms to losing the voice. I found that I've experienced that myself, admittedly. Can usually be quite chatty or don't find certain things quite difficult, but I have definitely found that I'd lost my voice over recent weeks, and only over the past 2 days it seems to have come back, even to a point where I just wasn't talking. Is that something that obviously the drum helps, or do you have any comment in that? I mean, I've really experienced
it can. Yes, it can help. But yeah, I need to do the drumming, actually drumming, and then you'll feel it to see what is blocking you. All right. It could be many things that's blocking you at the moment. It could be a physical block. It can be an emotional block. All right. And also it's a sense of helplessness at the moment. So that's making you go inwards. Yeah, rather than being able to sort of be who you are.
I can't hear you very well, admittedly.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
She's saying she can't hear you very
admittedly,
well.
I can't hear you fluently.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
We've really got to sort this
but
out.
It's okay.
It might be a day for the gremlins.
But thank you. I'm going to take the honey.
Okay.
Okay, it's Shida. You're the one who's cutting in and out. So it might be I think it's a problem on your side, because Lorna's side I can hear is quite fluent and quite clear.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I didn't get a chance to say thank you very much to Griot Chinyere.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Brilliant.
All right, those stories for the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
As the floor has already been open, we've still got some time for the floor to be open for any questions for any of the other presenters, as well as Griot, as well as Lorna and Fire. So if you've got any questions that you didn't have a chance to ask, or you put at the side and you'd like to ask, now is your chance.
Can I remind
Hi, I've got a question for
about
Griot.
the exercise that we did initially? They may want to give feedback on that.
Yes, somebody just mentioned something. Who else wanted to ask a question? We can go back on that after.
Brother David, I've got a question for Griot Chinyere.
Okay, you sound a bit muffled.
Yeah.
Is it?
Do I? So they still sound muffled now?
Yes, you still sound quite muffled, but a little bit.
I can hear you. I can hear you though.
Okay, I'll ask you the question then. I mean, I get the impression that you spontaneously make up stories. After you spontaneously make them, do you kind of sit down and write them out and fill them up even further? Or what do you kind of do, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, I get stories, it's true, I do get stories, and I don't write them down straight away. I might not write them down for years, to be honest, because the way that I'll get the bare bones of a story, and then I'll tell the bare bones of a story, and then I'll be inspired, and every time I tell the story will grow organically, naturally, and then when it gets to a certain place, and that could take years, and then I might write it down. But not initially. I just have to remember and build on it. But I try not to remember it too hard, because if I remember it in such a rigid way, then there's no space for it to evolve and grow. And so between the meditations and the conversations and the dreams, I have to allow all of that to be involved with the growth of the story. So I haven't written down lots of my stories. I've got about 9 of them now, really detailed, and they've been going back over years. But it grows through me telling the story as opposed to me writing and rewriting and writing and rewriting. I tell them first.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
You know, that, you know, with growing up, my children, we used to get 36 books a week from the library, and they would read these books. And the stories that they really, really wanted to hear was the stories that I made up. Yeah. And they were excited about the stories that I made up. And every one of us can do that, because it feeds our imagination and our children's imagination, you know, that it's not coming out of a book.
Yeah, my children loved it. I used to use it as a way of disciplining them sometimes. Like my son, I used to love licorice. And my son ate my licorice. And then he hid it, the packet, under his pillow. And I found it one day, and he said, "Oh, I don't know how it got there." And I said, "Oh, so you're not the, so you don't know the story of the boy who licorice in his ear?" He goes, "No, I don't know about that story." He goes, "Well, yeah, he stole his mum's licorice, put it under the pillow. When he woke up in the morning, he became a licorice, and she couldn't find her son, but she found a big piece of licorice, so she started to eat the licorice. She pulled him in, and he's like, you could see him go, and she ate it, and oh, it was delicious. And by the time she finished eating the licorice, she realised, oh, I've eaten my son." And his face was like, "Oh my God." And then he goes, "What happened next?" And he goes, "Well, when she realised that she'd eaten her son, she was a bit worried." And then my daughter got involved with the story, and she said, "Yeah, and then the mum went to the toilet and had a big poo, and he came out." And my son's going, "Oh, what happened next?" And then she said, "Well, we planted him in a plant pot to help him grow again, but he grew fun." But anyway, the point of it is that he never stole my licorice again. Yeah, so stories like that are fun. They are fun, but they also there's the moral of the story, isn't there? And you could tell them off, and you could shout at them, or you could tell them a story that makes them go, "Oh, I'm not going to do that again because that was wrong." And then you tell them. Whenever I wanted my children to listen, I'd say, "Do you want to hear a story?" Silence. Sit down. Focus. It's a great way of bringing them in. It's a great way of sharing their culture. It's a great way of passing on messages. It's a great way of teaching them lessons. It's a great way to communicate. And like you said, Royston, we are all capable of just making up stories because, and evolving them. You start a story tonight. Oh, what happens the next night? Oh, what happens the next night? Oh, what happens the next night? Yeah.
Stead, is there a word from you before we look to close?
Yes. I find it really great listening to the other speakers, because obviously it's knowledge coming out of there right now, and I feel really blessed, you know. I've just actually written a story this week. I'd like to share the story with everyone. I don't know if I can send it via email. I just tried to, but I wrote a story this week which will kind of explain what's going on at this present time. I love to share this story with everyone.
How long is it?
No, I'm going to send it to everyone.
Okay.
I don't know how I can send it to. I'll send it to your phone.
So there's two things. You can actually communicate it right now to everybody by putting it in a file. Yeah. If you go to chat, and this is a lesson for everybody. If you go to chat, to the right-hand side of chat, it says file.
It's got 3 dots.
Yep, just before the 3 dots, it should say file. And if you click on file, you can attach any document there.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I actually attached a video about the hair earlier on in the chat, so people can download that video. And if I said put his story in there, you can also download that.
I can't see it.
You have to be on to everyone for it to work.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I can't see it.
Click on make sure your message is for everyone, and then you'll see it.
Click on chat, Fias. Click on chat. You got the chat along at the bottom. Click on the chat.
Yeah, done
And
that.
the chat will come up along the side.
Yes, it works best if you're on a computer. If you're on a phone,
I'm on a laptop.
yeah, the laptop is logistically challenged.
Is
Oh,
it?
you can still get it on the laptop.
You can, but it's, yeah.
It's oh right. Oh, so it's harder on the laptop, yeah?
No, can you see chat at the bottom?
It is still there.
Can you see chat at the bottom of the screen?
Yeah.
It's got two, and you can either send it to everyone.
Yeah.
Next to it's got privately, and next to that is the file.
I can't see it.
Okay. So this is a cue to say, if you send it to us, we can send it on to people. But in order to get it, you need to put your email address in chat.
Okay.
Details in there.
If everybody puts their email address in chat, then we can send it on to you.
Okay. If Auntie Jean?
Yes. Can you?
Can I send it to you right now on what's it called? This phone? WhatsApp. Can you put it in chat?
Yeah, you can send it on WhatsApp, but you can look at if you look at the bottom, can you see all the different marks and markings? You've got participants.
I can't see it now.
Screen share, the bottom of the main screen.
Can someone just do a demonstration on a screen share for Stead, and then he'll be able to see it on the screen?
Auntie Jean, if he's on a mobile phone,
he's not.
Beside participant, he will see more.
He's on a laptop, sis. How are you doing anyway, Marcia?
I'm good, you know. I'm keeping good, working as usual. You know, I'm out there on the front.
Yes. Yeah. That's still.
Auntie Jean,
yes.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
If you could put it in the chat, it's there. I've sent it to you, Auntie Jean.
I'm gonna have to email it to myself. Okay.
Hey!
Okay, so people, some people have put their email address in chat. If any more can do that, then we can send it on to you.
Brother Royston, is it all right to just make one last comment?
Ooh. Short?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. It was just first of all, to give thanks. Thanks for kind of trying to coordinate Brother Royston and for Auntie Jean in bringing the presenters. To Sister Lorna, give thanks. It was, really powerful what she was trying to do. I didn't pick up a lot on it because of the sound, unfortunately. To Sister Griot, I listen just to give thanks. I listen every Tuesday, and the stories are powerful. And it's just the idea of really being able to advocate us to think about the power of imagination, the power of thought. Everything begins with thinking, to be able to put the vision in. And Sister Griot just puts that and sums it up. And just lastly, Brother Fire, I was fortunate enough to be paired with him in my joint session earlier. And he was so calm in explaining his story, and I didn't comprehend the gravitas of what he's been through, but I could tell just now in reflection how calm he is and conducts. Just goes to show that it takes experience to really get to where you are. And that's why I give thanks to the elders. This is the first time I've joined, just to give thanks and rise up everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Spread the word. There's more next week, Friday. Auntie Jean, close for us, please.
Okay, I was just trying to put in the YouTube link you gave me, Fire.
Yes, the YouTube link with a copy.
I'm just putting that in now.
I'd like anyone to give a comment on what I wrote as well. Even the storyteller. Storyteller, can you make a comment on what I wrote, please?
Great, Chinyere.
I don't really write a lot.
Was that beyond this? Would that be on that?
On what?
That's on that the link. Can you see the link in the chat?
Yes.
Yes.
Do people know how to save the chat?
No.
No.
Just copy and paste it into Word.
Well, you can just click on the three dots and it says save chat. And
I can't see
the three dots.
Brother
Yeah.
Royce, Brother Royston, when you put up your details again that you've got of everybody's information, that will also be helpful, because I'm sure you was going to do that at the end anyway.
You are sure that I was going to do that. There we go. I like
Give
it.
thanks.
I like it.
Give thanks.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's powerful.
Being here. I'm just putting this up again because I think I didn't do the link correctly. So I think the last link I just put up is the correct one that Fire put up. Fire, thank you so much for your story. Thank you so much for letting us know. Yes, we know that the food that we eat is a weapon of mass destruction, but the way you've explained it, you made it more apparent that the food that we eat is a weapon of mass destruction, and we have got to take charge of what we do and what we eat. And as I said, look at the labels, but better still, don't look at the labels. Get the fresh stuff, get the organic stuff that don't have labels. So thank you, Fire. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Also, Lorna, thank you very much. So next time we'll be able to hear the drum properly. I don't know if it's a vibration that kind of went onto the microphone that it cut it in and out. But, some of us still got the concept, and some of us still was able to, you know, grasp where you're coming from and what you was trying to do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I will work on it.
And yeah, as ever.
Please send me on can you hear me?
Yes.
I would like people to send me a comment on the story if possible, because I know I don't really write a lot because I had a struggle with English and I really struggled with this, but like I hope people get...
You had an inspiration.
Yeah, big inspiration.
Okay, cool. And Griot Chinyere, thank you so much, as ever, always on the spot of your storytelling. And it's wonderful. Thank you. And thank you everybody else for joining us.
Bye everyone.
And we'll see you next week. Thank you. Thank you, Royce.
Bye. Good night. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks.
Give thanks. Yes.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye. Okay. So last minute hangers on.
I don't know how to get rid of it from my screen. I need a technical guy.
Okay. All right. You'll pull a plug on us all in a minute. So quickly say goodbye to everybody you can see. Yay. Bye.